Hurricane Milton's winds. A number of spring training sites around the area have been suggested as temporary homes. MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred said on a recent podcast that the league wants a location for the Rays in the region if possible. A complete damage assessment of Tropicana Field is underway. Keith Peters reporting.
Boys of summer gearing up for the Fall Classic has the makings of a great when two teams have met in the World Series 11 times before. The Yankees have won 8, the Dodgers have won 3 of those series. First game is coming up Friday evening in Los Angeles. Breaking news and analysis, townhall.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Well, I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed. Oh, Ron, you don't have to do any. Your trusted pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal. Just visit Trade to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/Patriot for your free gutter inspection today. See a representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
open take on where you see things today. All momentum seems to have dramatically shifted to Donald Trump, but I warned people, we were told we were going to have a red wave in 2022. I'm telling people not to let any poll or any commentary of anybody at any time impact you or affect you. I am telling people that you must assume, especially if you're in Georgia, if you're in North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, that your vote might be the deciding vote in this election. Betting markets, I look at Real Clear Politics, I look at the average, I look at every poll that comes out the second it comes out. I can tell you numbers where we were in 2020 versus today. Joe Biden was up by nearly 9 points in the general election. Kamala is up by about 1. And Hillary was up by about 6.5 in 2016. And Donald Trump right now, Real Clear Politics average, is up in every swing state, not by a lot, but he's up in every swing state, and he was down an average of nearly 5 points around this time in 2020. What do you make of that? Should we make anything of it or just not pay attention to it and go vote?
Well, I think Trump will win. It's not a prediction, an opinion. I'll make my prediction on Halloween, which is fitting enough. And the reason I think Trump will win is because his voter support is more fervent, F-E-R-V-I-D. The MAGA people and the Republican Party are fearful of Harris and what the progressives will bring. It'll be worse than Joe Biden. So Trump support is locked down hard, whereas Harris's support is soft. Nobody clamoring around for Kamala Harris. I was in Vermont over the weekend. I did not see one, and that's one of the most liberal, if not the most liberal state in the union. I didn't see any signs for Harris walls. None. I saw a few Trumps, but nobody's running around going, we gotta have Kamala. She's a terrible candidate, performed very poorly on the trail. So that's what I think the decider is going to be. The other analysis I have for you today is if the Hispanic polling number holds and Trump gets 50% or more of the Hispanic American vote, he wins. It's a dramatic turnaround, and it's all economic based, because generally speaking, Hispanic Americans are working hard for a living, and they know they have less money now than they had 4 years ago. So the winds are at Donald Trump's back. Now, the hatred level, you can see it, and I predicted this. I think you did too, if I remember.
I predicted it in January this year, my first day back from vacation. My long vacation is always around Christmas. I said, let me tell you what this election is going to be reduced to by the time we get to November. It's going to be January 6th, democracy in peril. It's going to be Donald Trump is evil. He's going to be a racist, sexist, homophobe, xenophobe, Islamophobe, transphobe that wants dirty air and water and wants to take granny and grandpa's Social Security and Medicare and throw them off the cliff. And all of my predictions have come true.
But let's get specific today. So the hate this week is Hitler. And there's nobody who can tell you.
Well, it's Hitler. The trifecta actually was in the Atlantic. It was Hitler, Stalin, and Mussolini.
Okay, but Hitler is the main attraction. And it's all over the place. Because John Kelly, former
they're in the tank, and this is where I was going. They're in the tank. They've been in the tank. They are an extension of the press office of Kamala Harris. We have a corrupt, abusively biased news media. They're all talk show hosts that claim to be journalists. They give opinion like we give opinion, and they claim to be holier than thou. Now, this is, for example, you mentioned John Kelly or General Kelly. General Kelly, you know, there have been serious allegations about Kamala Harris's husband. One that he may have slapped a woman, and she contemporaneously told 3 people at the time. The media, the Me Too group, they've ignored it. We know the story about the previous marriage, the nanny, and having a child with the nanny. You know, serious allegations. There are first-hand accounts all over the internet. And we've not discussed, and I'm not going to discuss now, because I can't verify them, about Tim Walz. And I'm playing fair. Now, there was a question in an interview in May 18th to be specific, 2018, of General Kelly with NPR. And NPR asked the question, there's been reporting about the derogatory words that you used to describe the president. I know you've denied it. How would you describe your relationship? John Kelly then said, the president and I have a very close relationship. And my view is to speak truth to power. I always give my opinion on everything. He always listens. Sometimes he takes the opinion, sometimes he doesn't. The good thing about the president is he does listen to people, and generally speaking, we'll have a group in there, a spectrum, if you will. So if it's taxes, you'll have someone who thinks, you know, very liberally about taxes, and someone who's an arch conservative, and then a sprinkling of everybody in the middle. And then he further goes on to praise Trump and said he's very, very smart. He's a smart guy, I mean super smart, but I think it wouldn't surprise you to know that he's very strong. He's very strong in terms of trade, taxes, business. He's a quick study on everything else. He's a very bright guy. Now he's comparing him to Hitler. Now, the fact that the media runs with this, but they ignore very real serious allegations about Kamala's husband, is to me the perfect example of bias. And their closing argument in this campaign is he's Hitler, Stalin, Mussolini.
Right.
He's evil, and democracy's in peril, although the Washington Post poll shows that more people think she's a threat to democracy, not him.
Let me ask you a question on your show. Am I allowed to do that?
Is it going to be a cupcake question or a hard one?
It's going to be an opinion question. Are you ready?
I'm always ready.
All right. Do you think that this all this over-the-top stuff is going to hurt Harris?
All right, quick break, right back more with All Things Simple Man, Bill O'Reilly, and All Things O'Reilly at BillO'Reilly.com. We'll also get to your calls next half hour, toll free. It's 800-941-SEAN if you want to be a part of the program. Senate candidate now surging in Pennsylvania, Dave McCormick, will join us at the top of the next hour as we continue. Election day is today and for the next 13 days. And go to Hannity.com for information about registration, early voting.
Wow, you guys are fucking
dicks. Files and Walls files.
Wow.
That is a public service as we continue.
To expose how the government wastes your money each and every day. This is the Sean Hannity Show. Patrick was way behind on his IRS
I was going to go to Walmart, go shopping. Fuck. Assholes. They redid their parking lot, put a bunch of parking bumps in there so the trucks can't park in there. Life of a trucker. Everybody wants their shit, but nobody wants to help out.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier. Very easy, pretty much hands off. You know, they picked up the ball and ran with it. And how'd it go? I couldn't believe it. I had to ask like 2 or 3 times.
Thank God there's a new Maverick here. You can just take a lunch
How do you
here.
feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima's actually the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-611-8892. 800-611-8892. 800-611-8892.
parking.
River cruises with code
Get it out of here.